Hello everyone, Mr. Nacho here, and today I wanted to share with you a fantastic Deceit build that my friend from the Remnant the Game Discord server has shared with me. This is completely her idea and she has optimized it to hell. I think that this is the best Deceit build that's available at the moment. The friend that has shared with me the build is Serah Cocoa. And I think that she has made this build as good as it potentially can be. She is a huge fusion rifle fanatic, so I hope to work with her in the future as well. And once again, Serah, thank you so much for help on this video. So let's get to the build. The build looks something like this. For the armor, it's up to you, it's a personal preference. I'm rocking Litho Mark II helmet, bandit jacket, Litho Mark II leggings, and the trainer bracers. So I'm at 50 weight right now and I have almost 200 armor, so I take basically just half the damage. When it comes to the relic, it's personal preference as well. I just like the salvaged heart, but the tranquil heart will work just as well. The relic fragments are range crit chance, range crit damage, and mod cost. Mod cost is extremely important and I will get to why later on. The star of the show is Deceit with supercharger on it. There isn't really any substitute for the supercharger. It's just the best in slot. It's a fantastic mutator and there's nothing really that we can change here. When it comes to the melee, you can either use Hero's Sword with transference, or you can use the Krell Axe with transference as well. Transference will help us gain back some of the ammo that we spend, because Deceit is a very hungry girl and you need to feed her just to be able to use the gun. It goes through the ammo pretty quickly, even while you're running Gunslinger and you have the ammo reserves maxed out, but this is a gun that does a lot of damage, so you don't really need that much ammo for it. Anyway, when it comes to the secondary, the best in slot and the preferred gun is Nebula. You could also try to go for something like Tech 22 with corrosive rounds and twisting wounds. Both of them will work great. When it comes to the jewelry, and here is a tricky part, this is a amulet that you almost never see. This is the Butcher's Fetish, and it increases critical chance by 15% and crit damage by 25% for 15 seconds after we perform a charged melee attack. And we will be doing this constantly to proc the ouroboros, which whenever we perform a melee attack, lets loose all of the fragments at once and makes them hit wherever we are aiming at. And if we hit the boss, they will become susceptible to weak spot damage and we will only be doing weak spots on them for a few seconds. When it comes to the rest of the rings, the probability cord is a must and there is no way to change it. Then there is another must, Burden of the Follower, which reduces our fire rate by 15% and increases mod generation by 50%. We don't really lose anything because the Gunslinger itself gives us 15% fire rate. So this is basically just increase mod power generation by 50%. And the last ring that we are using is Xania's Malice. You could try to use the Ring of the Float Beauty, but the downside of this ring is that whenever you are out of cycle, you will deal 15% less damage. The other interesting option would be a Honey Crystal, which will increase our damage by 15% in total, because we could just as well run Tech 22 with corrosive rounds and twisting wounds, which is already 2 stacks. And then we could run Krell Axe, which will be the third stack. So this will be in total 15% extra damage that's multiplicative, which is incredibly nice as well. But this is a higher upkeep and tougher to play build. The last ring that we use, it's the Archer's Crest, because it decreases the weapon charge time by 25%. We don't really worry about the projectile speed because this is a hit scan weapon. Also, the other amulet that you could use, which would be a little bit less DPS but will be higher base value, would be Jester's Bell, because it increases mod and skill cast speed and we are casting our mod constantly, and it increases our damage by 20% for 15 seconds. So this is basically cast your mods 35% quicker and gain 20% permanent damage. Whichever one you prefer, I prefer the Butcher's Fetish. It does overall more damage if you can hit everything. This build is quite difficult to play, but we can try to simplify it as much as we can. So let me show you the abilities that I'm running right now. I'm running Hunter with the Hunter's Mark, and I'm running Gunslinger with Bullet Storm. When it comes to the traits, we are running Longshot, Ammo Reserves, Triage, Fortify, Flashcaster almost maxed out, it's at 8 points. You could take 2 points away from Triage and max it out, and this would actually be more beneficial. There is Vigor, Spirit, which is crucial for this build, Expertise, because skill cooldowns are nice, and Glutton, just because we can use our relic faster and other things faster. You could swap it out for something like Swiftness or Footwork. It's up to you, really. This is just a baseline. So now let me show you what I mean by the cycle. Basically, what you want is to never have to reload this gun ever. So you would want to build up as much mod power as possible so that you can pop your mod, which will actually reload your weapon as well for you. So let me show you. Bang, it's reloaded. And we don't really have to worry about reloads if we can hit all of our shots. This is difficult to do, but as you can see, the DPS on it is extremely nice. It's about 4k damage. This is very serviceable, and it always does weak spot damage. It has a very high crit chance, base crit chance as well, which is 15%, and I think it's the highest of any weapons that there are. And the last crucial part of this build is that you will have to run Bottled Shadberry, because it will increase the mod power generation by 10%, and this is a thing that allows us to keep the cycle going. Once again, thanks to Serah for sharing this build. I am really grateful. I hope that we can collaborate in the future as well. I hope that you enjoy the clips that I'm about to present, and have a great day.